You're a hypocrite, and so am I. This is inevitable. As humans, it is nearly impossible not to be. You'll find yourself entangled in conflicting web where you tolerate from one person what you would blow a gasket over with another, or declaring you dislike something only to find yourself doing that same thing later on. Sure, you might have your reasons, but the fact remains you're forever tarnished. This is normal, but the question is, can a group of people of different races, cultures, values, and creeds, separated by time and space, but connected by radio waves and their interest in the digital slaying of monsters, dragons, and gods, be collectively hypocrites? The short answer is yes. Gamers are hypocrites. At least that's how it looks. One minute, we're celebrating indie devs who pour their hearts into projects. The next, we're trashing a AAA studio for doing something not all that different. We talk about how much we hate microtransactions, but spend thousands on skins and can't get enough of battle passes. Yeah, I'm aware that not all gamers do this, but enough of us do to cause the greedy, bottomless money gobblers called corporations to deem it profitable enough to continue investing in and shelling them out. We say we want innovation, but buy sequel after sequel after sequel. And oh, some just can't get enough of remakes and remasters as they bow to the god of nostalgia. So yeah, it's easy to say gamers are hypocrites, given that these patterns of behavior fit the definition of hypocrisy perfectly. Hypocrisy can be defined as behavior that contradicts what a person claims to believe, and going by that definition, we gamers seem guilty as charged. But you see, not all contradiction is hypocrisy. Sometimes it's nuance, emotional reaction, or players being conflicted from multiple truths at play. And in gaming, there are always multiple truths playing, especially now with all of the pride we are forced to swallow. For instance, one major, if not the major, complaint by players is the infiltration of our escape medium with real-world politics and the message, and how the presence of this message in games like Dragon Age, The Veilguard, or for some, The Last of Us Part 2, deprives us of complete immersion into the world and story. But in the same breath, we praise games like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Baldur's Gate, and Cyberpunk, which heavily feature these supposed messages that taint our experiences. Liars and hypocrites, all of them. The message is fine. A gaming journalist's voice echoes across the gaming multiverse, ignoring the multiple truths at play. That implementation matters, that the implementation of the message in Baldur's Gate and Cyberpunk fits within the story, world, and themes of the game's universe. That, although it feels a bit shoehorned in KCD 2, it is completely optional, hence does not interfere with the story or player's immersion. And that, with Veilguard and The Last of Us 2, the message did exactly what we feared. It knocked us out of the game's narrative and suspended our belief as it was given priority over the story. These truths reveal that although gamers might seem to contradict what they say when emotionally charged, they aren't hypocrites because they remain steadfast in their fundamental values, which is the want for fun, authentic, and immersive experience that takes them back to their childhood for a few hours of game time. Aside politics and its messages, gamers are also perceived to show hypocrisy when they say things like, "We want games to respect our time," for games like AC Valhalla, while pouring 300 hours into Elden Ring and The Witcher 3. Support devs, except when it's a company they already resent, like EA or Bethesda. Complain about the amount of time spent in the menu for Starfield while willing to take a nap in the menu of Kingdom Come Deliverance. Bash the recent Assassin's Creed games for their repetitiveness in side quests and main missions while chewing on the ass of games like Ghost of Tsushima despite it being as repetitive as hell too. Or crying for innovation while also being excited for the next God of War movie that will somehow be in contention for Game of the Year on the year of its release. At face value, these examples look foolproof as a gotcha for gamers being hypocrites, but the proof is in the pudding. The thing is, for each of these surface area arguments, there are layers to be peeled. No doubt there are biases, but these are rooted in the historical relationship of trust and betrayal between the players and the studios, and the current trend of where gaming as a culture is heading. There's tons of scientific research and findings on how gaming improves the reflex or hand-eye coordination of gamers, but we never see any findings on the ability of gamers to smell bullshit from a mile away. Maybe it's not prevalent yet among gamers, cause some God of War fans are yet to smell the shit radiating around the franchise lately. Anyway, my point is, players can, at a glance, sense when a game is made with passion by the devs, or if it is just another soulless cash grab caked in agenda. That's why an indie dev can launch a janky game with soul and still get love, and why a AAA studio can release a polished, safe product and get criticized. We don't actually expect perfection, just authenticity, integrity, a sense that the people making the game care not just about profit, but about the experience they are selling. For titles like The Witcher 3, Elden Ring, and Baldur's Gate, the love, passion, and regard for players put into them radiate around every corner of their virtual world, characters, and out the screen into your brain, compelling you to never want to let go of the controller. And even when you're done, seek out other players just to keep the conversation around it going for years, because it means that much to you. That's why you can spend 300 hours on them, because they indeed respect your time. Same can be said for Kingdom Come Deliverance. Unlike Valhalla and Starfield, which felt either bloated or empty, Valhalla with enough bloat to fill a trailer of chips, because Ubisoft needed to justify the $60 price tag. Then there's Starfield with the scam artist Todd, who couldn't be bothered to give you anything beyond the main quest that was riddled with bugs and dead-eyed NPCs, trying to disguise it as some sort of Bethesda charm. Why won't players complain about the time spent in the menu when there's no fat to its bones in the first place compared to KCD 2? It's the same story for the supposed hypocrisy shown by gamers in the recent Assassin's Creed games' repetitive quests compared to Ghost of Tsushima's. The truth is, the AC franchise needs to be put out of its misery at this point. It has no milk to offer anymore. Ubisoft has sucked its tits dry, and players might not know it or voice it, but they are fatigued of the stale milk the old cow is producing. That's why they latched onto the titties of the new cow in Ghost. It felt fresh and had more juice to it, and players for now can't get enough despite the occasional chunks of milk fat they have to spit out. Ghost of Tsushima, despite being repetitive in its side quests and random encounters, had new, authentic, innovative mechanics that is already revolutionizing the industry directly or indirectly. It also had a combat system that felt very satisfying no matter how long you've played. Not to mention the great story and doing the assassin thing better than most AC games, and using a setting that's so beautiful and awe-inspiring, which coincidentally is the one the fans of the AC franchise have been crying out for years. Why won't players give it a pass? It's not news that all gamers want is authenticity. Scratch that. Some devs and studios are yet to know it, so maybe it's still news. Anyway, gamers expect authenticity and will laud any game that gives it to them, even if it features what they originally complained about. It's not hypocrisy, just a well-meaning contradiction. Gamers are first humans, which means we have emotions. And like every human, we tend to speak in hyperbole when vexed. Words that are not nuanced, words that we might not fully adhere to in the future. But that doesn't make us hypocrites. It just means we're emotionally invested. It just means that we care. What was once a hobby in quote-unquote nerd culture has now become a $200 billion industry. What was once niche is now pop culture. What was once rebellious is now corporate. And all of it would have been fine if they were just satisfied with cashing in by producing games of high quality instead of trying to change the worldview of those who pioneered the growth of the industry and turning every other success into just another product. Acknowledgement is what we've always wanted, for gaming not to be seen as a hobby for social rejects, and we've got that now, to a large extent at least. But we didn't think it would lead to a war for the soul of gaming. And I'm sure many other players would rather go back to that time when the eyes of bad faith actors and social justice warriors look at us with scorn when they turn their nose up at hearing the word game. We would at least be having fun and not be battle hardened from all the constant fighting we've done with every release. So, are gamers hypocrites? Yeah, sometimes, with reason. But we're also loyal, thoughtful, passionate, and underneath every contradiction is a longing for games to be authentic again, not as products and political tools, but as art, as memory, as identity. If that's hypocritical, maybe it's the kind of hypocrisy worth understanding. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and also check out my previous video. But if you want to see more video like this, check out the recommended one. See you there.